Let's bring in Bishop Garrison, co-founder of the Joseph Rainey Center for Public Policy, and Republican strategist Brian Darling, founder and president of Liberty Government Affairs. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
All right, Brian, I want to start with your reaction to AOC saying the president should not be using the words of white supremacists. Is that a fair assessment of what to expect from the president of the United States here?
Yes and no. I mean, I don't think his tweets are appropriate. I don't think the chants from the crowd at the rally were appropriate. But we have to understand that the Democratic socialists here, the socialism squad, as I call them, they've basically taken over the Democratic Party, and they're pushing a far left-wing agenda. And the president was reacting to that, and he overreacted, and he used some very insensitive language, and that's indefensible. But the fact of the matter is he's identified these four members correctly as the leaders of the Democratic Party, and they are not blameless either. They've done some things that stepped over the line themselves. I mean, we've seen Congresswoman Tlaib basically say the moments after she was sworn in that her job was to impeach the MF-er, talking about the president, and that's over the line too.
All right, Bishop, the Washington Post is also out with this new report today saying President Trump has openly discussed going after those four progressive congresswomen before he tweeted. And it says he wanted to elevate them, and he told advisors that they were good foils. So did he fully understand what he was getting into here?
He absolutely did. And let's be frank and let's be clear here. The language he used was racist. It was not simply inappropriate. It was not simply harsh language. He was being racist whenever he tweeted exactly what he tweeted and said exactly what he said. And he meant it. And we need to be honest about this. This is about the values of the American people and American society. I don't know how anyone at this point can continue to support the types of things this administration does and says. Their actions speak volumes, and the president's words support all of those different types of actions around these different issues. And I want to have a counterpoint to what Brian said. These are future leaders and in the Democratic Party for sure. But right now, to say that these four freshman congresswomen are somehow elevated to the same level as the president, the leader of the free world, is preposterous.
Brian, what do you think?
Well, let me ask you this. What's the most well-known piece of legislation right now that's been discussed in the House and the Senate? It's the Green New Deal. That's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's legislation.
The Green New Deal is not even, it's a resolution, Brian. It's not,
right.
It's not a bill.
Most Americans know what it is. Most Americans
actual legislative action.
Right. Most Americans don't know what the Equality Act is.
Because they want clean energy. They want
know
a clean environment.
Well,
Brian, go ahead.
When you look at the agenda, their agenda has been elevated to the point that you're hearing it in the debates. You're hearing the Democratic candidates for president adopt the socialism squad's agenda. And it includes all of these things like the $15 minimum wage and raising taxes on all Americans, redistributing wealth, going after big tech. These are all the agenda of the socialism squad. They have hijacked the party and taken it over. Pelosi is not the leader anymore.
Bishop, I want to ask you.
You can keep calling it socialist, but that doesn't make it so. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Brian, I mean, Bishop, I want to know here, what do you think about elevating these four congresswomen to this back and forth debate and what it actually has put voters through, people who are actually going to be casting their votes come 2020?
Well, I mean, I think Brian does have one valid point here, that the American people have shown that they have a sincere interest in the policies, the platforms that our parties are putting forth. And they have a sincere interest in what these women have to say because they do have brand new, fresh ideas. They do have sharp thoughts about the direction of this country, about the future of it. You can call it socialism all you want. Call it purple. That doesn't make it purple. That doesn't make it socialism. That part doesn't matter. So it's really about what the American people want to hear and the type of lively debate around these important policy issues that we're having right now as a country.
Brian, we also want to take a look at the president's rally in North Carolina, the chant, the send her back chant. There was a CBS News report that said President Trump heard from Melania, his wife, Ivanka, his daughter, and Vice President Pence afterwards. The headline describing him as taking heat for it. Here's how he reacted to a question about that on Friday.
What did the First Lady and Ivanka advise you about the chant? I know you guys talked about it.
False information. It was fake news.
You never talked about it?
Nope, I talk about it, but they didn't advise me. They told me, but I didn't. It's fake. By the way, what you're saying, fake news.
So why is the president trying to dig in on these attacks and digging his heels and brushing aside questions about what his own family thinks as they're in the White House?
Well, I think as everybody knows, the president doesn't listen to very many people. He does not take advice from anybody. He takes advice from himself. And many times that works. Sometimes it doesn't. So, I think he's pushing back for a reason. I mean, he's feeling the heat. I don't think these tweets define his presidency as much as the left would like them to. I think the tax cuts do. I think his foreign policy does. I think his regulatory reform do. And we'll talk about them for a week or two. But come Election Day, nobody's going to dwell on these 3 tweets.
Bishop, we also know that the House Intel Committee Chairman Adam Schiff was weighing in actually there in Aspen, where you are, on this chant. Let's listen to what he said.
Yeah.
To see a display like we saw at the rally the other day, which is so antithetical to the very idea of America, so undermines our democracy in a way that no foreign adversary could.
You're talking about the send her back chant that happened.
Yes.
What's your reaction to that?
I tend to agree. I think this is a point of interest that Brian and I agree on. I think this, for me, is all par for the course for this administration, unfortunately. But I think it is true that the president's policies, the tax cuts, which are continuing to destroy the American middle class, that immigration, we're continuing to have kids locked up in cages, foreign policy, we're continuing to isolate our allies. I think that is really what's going to push through. And this is just icing on top of this hateful cake, to be quite honest, that the president didn't push back on the chants. He didn't repudiate any of this. And in fact, he sat and he basked in the glow of the chants for a while. And this is just all par for the course. This is a fight for the American values, for the true soul of America. And right now, unfortunately, this administration is leading us down the wrong path.
I want to ask you, Brian, a little bit about a piece in the Washington Post that Dana Bilbank wrote titled "Republican Lawmakers Are Behaving Worse Than Trump." In this piece, he's slamming Republicans for largely refusing to condemn the actions, the tweets. Only 4 ultimately did. So are Republicans choosing to be politically in favor with the president opposed to morally right here?
Well, if you're a member of Congress, you're very reluctant to pick a fight with the president. I don't blame them for not doing so. But when you look at the details of the resolution that was put up by Democrats in the House, they overreached. I mean, they did not put up a resolution that said we denounce Trump's tweets and period. It was a laundry list of complaints against the president, making it impossible for most Republicans to vote for it. It was Democratic overreach, and for whatever reason, that's par for the course. I mean, I think Bishop and I would love to see us get back to policy, not talking about tweets and chants and these issues that really don't matter as much as the policies that divide us.
All right, Brian Darling, Bishop Garrison, it sounds like you guys agree on one thing. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.